have a medical lab, and I experiment on people with it. Only men. Anyway, I made a triangle person. Their bones are triangle, their whole body, the skin is stretched over a triangle shape. They have an agony, and they lived very short amount of time. Though they did reach full maturity upon birth. They formed as a grown-up. They were not a baby. They were formed as a grown man, as I said, only men. And, that's pretty much it. Then they died. I didn't do it again because it was too much money. And, they were in pain, which is cool because I'm crazy. And that was cool to me. But, I just didn't get out of it exactly what I wanted from making a triangle person. One time I made a friend at a local bar, and then for kicks, I drugged him and then pushed him out of the car on the highway. It seems as if my servants are incapable of understanding the fact that I need a constant supply of liquor and other drugs. So, I need an IV. I need a butt chug. I need it to go into my ears. I need an eye droplet. There's so many things that I require to keep myself properly medicated. Some of other things those are things under my hat. I keep some old fruit underneath my hat, and then it ferments, and then it stinks, and I use it to get drunk. The smells penetrate into my hair follicles. It's very scientific. My witch butler came up with the whole thing. It's really, really up my alley. I love getting drunk and insane. Pickles is sad. One of the pigs that I used to kill the people that I don't want to deal with got really sick, and we had to take her to the vet, and they said she had truffle disease. That means that she can't search for truffles anymore. Yes, in addition to them being my killer pigs, they also hunt for truffles. I love truffles. They have a bit too rich of a taste, so I can only eat a little bit at a time. But I sell them. That's how I make my riches. I know I said before that I don't really do any commerce myself, but I do. I did inherit my wealth, but I also inherited my parents' ability to make do. I was able to figure out that they hunted for truffles. I didn't even train them to do it. I think that there are people that were turned into pigs that had addictions to truffles to begin with. Oh no, the pig is sick. I used to grow beans as a little boy. I did this in my backyard. The backyard was 10 million acres. That's right, I grew up rich, if you can't tell. I don't make my money doing what I do now. I've inherited it. That's why I'm such a degenerate. I've said it in the past. I am like a rich person that doesn't really have a purpose. But that's alright because I make do. I hang out with my butler that's a witch. I fill things full of sardines. I have a sauna, apparently. And also I like to dance. My favorite dance is the one of the dead. My witch butler taught it to me. When you do this dance, all the dead people around you come to life. And then you realize that there are more dead people around you than you ever could have possibly imagined. And that's kind of a shock. But when you think about it, they're your guardian spirits. I'm an ageless demigod. That's right. Every time you look at a picture of me, I'm not really in it. The truth is, I'm reborn and every time a photo is taken of me. I am the opposite of a Native American in that pictures, they enhance my soul. They don't steal it. Every time I get photographed, like right now, I'm gonna be, my whole life will be rejuvenated. I'll be fine. That's why I've been living for so long. I'm from whatever decade I'm from. I'm still here in 2021, and boy, shit's getting crazy. It's me, Pickles, Johannesburg. I'll never die. That's why I'm such a degenerate. I can punish my body in all sorts of ways, and I'll never, ever get old. My favorite childhood horse was named Pickles. I was named after the horse. It was my family's greatest horse, and so they decided to name their only child after said horse, or the only child that we know about. Anyway, so I went to get my portrait taken the other day, and I had to sit still for like 3 hours. And the painting, it shows my slow descent into drunkenness. I was drinking during the photo shoot, and it was a photo shoot. It wasn't a painting. They made me sit still for 3 hours just to take pictures. And it showed me slowly getting tired and more drunk throughout the day. It's like I melted into a pile. Or, as I like to think of it, I became more myself. I think that was maybe what the piece was about. Maybe it went over my head. Maybe not. I think I was there for a reason, and the person that took the photos was my butler, who is a witch, and now I think he's gonna do something crazy with the photos. I hope he doesn't do anything bad. Oh no. The only person in this entire world that I have respect for is the dirty old boy on the corner of the street that hands out papers. He doesn't sell them like the other newsboys do, or newsies as they call it. I refuse to call him that, because it's degrading. This boy, I tell you, I love him like I would my own son. This boy, he smells like onions, which isn't bad. It's not like B.O. onions. It's like the food onions. So you know he eats good. I feel like it's some kind of act that he looks poor. Because how come he wouldn't, sell the newspapers? He's just giving them away. Who is making him do this? And the answer to that question, it's me. I hired him. He's just some random guy that works for me. He's pretty well off. My best friend is my butler. He's a witch, and he likes to make dead people do things. He also casts spells, and they come back to him in threes every time, but he's like, you know what, it's worth it. These moving pictures, they make me feel like I'm losing my mind. I can't believe those people are moving around in that little box. Won't someone let them out? Won't someone let me out of the box that is my mind? Pickles Johannesburg had a terrible father who discouraged him from playing sports. It was terrible. I wanted to play golf, and he said no, and he beat me with the clubs. It was a dark time, but you know what? I learned something. Hey, that dad is an asshole. Let me go get real rich and crazy. So I did, and I bought my own golf clubs. And you know what? I don't really care for golf. Isn't that interesting? I based my whole life on getting revenge from my father for that, and I don't even like golf. I tried tennis, because that's like an upperclassman thing, but I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not that kind. I'm the kind of upperclassman that gets gout, and that eats cake, and that, smokes too much. I don't do that stuff. I don't ski. That's too modern. I take a horse-drawn carriage to a store. VD store.
So my best friend Jack and I were walking through a fountain yard. You might have known him better by his nickname, Jack the Ripper. The thing is, he's not a murderer. He just takes fat bong rips. Pickles Johannesburg doesn't take fat bong rips, because I'm an old-timey kind of guy. I do cocaine, and I smoke tobacco. Jack the Ripper, he has a rig that's purple, and it has a bunch of Rick and Morty stuff on it. Every bong in every freaking head shop. He likes to go through them and be like, my bong is so much better. Jack the Ripper, he's so stoned that he actually started murdering people. Wait a minute. Maybe he is called Jack the Ripper because of the stoned behavior and because of the ripping of the flesh. Boy, Jack the Ripper, what a scary name to rip flesh. Why not Jack the Stabber?
Cashmere is the toilet paper of the business industry. Is the business industry a business on its own? It is an industry. My industry is business of child labor. We're a temp agency for child laborers. Come on down if you're looking for work. How can I rest in peace if I'm buried by a highway? I seem to be happy, but I'm just wasted. I'm a rich upperclassman, and I'm like Tim Heidecker in that film, the comedy or whatever. I don't have any like purpose, so I have to just insert myself into other people's world in order to feel fulfilled. It's a work in progress. I think that it will be successful once people start noticing that I'm rich. Maybe they'll ask me for money. I don't have a foot fetish. I just like feet. It's not a sexual thing. I use it in my art. I use it in my decorating. I think that they look cool. I like how they're like hands, but they're not like hands. I love feet. The best thing about feet is that they step on the plebes. No, just kidding. The best thing about feet is that they look like this part of your brain. And that's why people say that so many people have foot fetishes. I chose the name Pickles to keep myself away from the fruit pickles. Yes, I chose my own name. And yes, I called pickles fruit. They are the salty, tangy fruit, one that I do not like. It is a food for plebeians, and I am a rich, wasted upperclassman. That's my deal. I'm rich and I'm drunk, in case you didn't know. Yeah, but pickles are gross. Gherkins, though, they're fine by me. Gherkins are fine by me. They're sweeter, they're smaller, they're spiky, they look sillier. People say, pickles look like penises. I think gherkins look a little bit more like penises, even though they look less like penises. I think they look more just by the spirit of them. Like, when I look at one, I'm like, oh, it makes me think of a penis more than I think of a penis. I spend my free time setting forest fires. I do this because I'm a fucking crazy person. And another reason why I do this is because I think that it's gonna help. I figure if all the trees are gone, people will have to force themselves to do things for the environment to help it at a more rapid pace. Now, I do realize that destroying the environment to help the environment is contradictory. But guess what? I don't give a shit, because I'm Pickles Johannesburg and I'm a fucking maniac. Speaking of which, you wanna know how I start these fires? I buy a pound of weed, and I don't even smoke it. I know how hard it is to come by to all these youths, and I laugh in their face, and I start forest fires in their own fire pits, so that they think it's them. And then their parents come out, and then they get in trouble for starting the fires when it's just Pickles Johannes. So Pickles here was getting stoned one night with his butler when he heard the rattling bones of the creatures in the sarcophagi nearby. We have quite a lot of tombs in the fountain yard. That is the yard with no grass, only fountain. And one of these skeletons came out and did a little dance for us. Turns out the butler, he's a witch. And he made them dance for me. He loves it when he makes them dance. He makes the women of the countryside dance. As I drive by in my personalized train, they swing their bodies to and fro for their king, Pickles Johannesburg. Oh, I was trying to sleep one night, and as you know, I cannot fall asleep without an orgasm. And I had my butler bring me 2 prostitutes. And I thought to myself, oh my, this was quite a tall order. I cannot handle the emotional intimacy of 2. So I had the other one taken care of. And it turns out that she was the young daughter of a very normal family in town. They came looking for her. And we of course had to dispose of them in a similar manner. I say the pigs were very full that night. I think we can remember the great fucking of 69. Back in those days, I'd go out condomless all over town. Nowadays, a blow in the wrong direction can get you years in the insane asylum for syphilis. And I thought, let me go to the next haberdasher, and I found the very same predicament. And I thought to myself, well, who would ever make a hat? And then I thought, oh, well, I guess some people aren't as privileged as Pickles Johannesburg. The only thing talk therapy is good for
It's making Pickles realize that he's a piece of shit that has a real drinking problem. I don't want to know this stuff. I want to go to my own kind of therapist. Her name is Sheila, and guess what? She's a prostitute with one leg. That's right. It's what I prefer. She's broken like me.